Mike, it's been a pleasure to have you in this week.
It's been great, Doug.
Yeah.
I like bopping around a little bit.
You do bop around.
I do bop around.
You're like you're a utility guy.
And nothing against John or Jim, but getting up at 7:34 is a lot better than getting up at 4:44.
You're in favor of that?
Yes, I'm very in favor.
I remember I did a week of morning radio here at 97.1. Mm-hmm. Maybe we were AM 12.7. Yeah, I think we were 97.1. That's tough to get used to.
Yeah, it kind of changes your whole life.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, I remember asking Sarah, how long does it take to get used to this? And you know what she said to me? You never do.
You don't.
Yeah.
You don't.
And I'm like, so then I started doing that. What if I slept for 4 hours and then napped every day for 4 hours? And I guess our bodies can't do that. They're like the Navy. The Navy.
I'm pretty close to that.
Are you?
But I sleep more than, like, I would go to bed at like average between 11 and 11:30.
Well,
so I'd get 5.5. And then I'd go home, and if I wasn't covering a press conference or doing something, I would always take a minimum of 2 to 3 hour nap every day.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, when I was talking to some people about that, I had a bunch of questions, and my dad said that there was something with the Navy. They tried to experiment with doing 4 hour sleep, twice. 2 times a day for 4 hours with submarines. People who worked on submarines, and I guess it's like our bodies aren't really going to do that, and they don't really adjust or respond to that. The fact that you might be able to adjust and respond to that is no surprise.
Well, it's weird because exercise for this shift is worse. I didn't pretty much work out all week because I still, when I go home after getting lunch, if I don't have it here, I'm somewhat tired. I still take a nap when I get home.
Do you?
Even this shift. And then by that time, it's almost time for dinner and all that stuff. But
funny.
In the mornings, because I either go to the Planet Fitness in West Bloomfield or off the air, we have a little gym here. So I'd work out here. Mm-hmm. Now I'm not as inclined, so maybe I'll work out more next week.
You got some catching up to do?
I have some catching up to do.
Understood.
Then there's always tomorrow. So
yeah. All right, so look, let's start with some football. And I do want to get into the Pistons game last night because that was an emotional one. Mm-hmm. I'm not mad about it. I was mad about that loss to Milwaukee a couple of weeks ago. I'm not mad about this one. In fact, I liked a lot of what happened last night, to be honest with you.
Because it looked like that game was going the same way the Milwaukee game was going, and then it flipped.
Well, here's the thing. Last night's NFL game with Seattle's win, they clinched a playoff spot. Now, that game was wild, and there's a lot to get into with it because it does pertain to Detroit. Seattle employed a formula against good teams that I am in favor of, and of course everybody would want to do this, but it's something I watch with the Lions each and every week. Against good teams, their defense isn't going to dominate. That's just a fact that I have accepted. And I go back to a statistic that I pay attention to every single time, FGA. Mm-hmm. The Rams had 4 field goal attempts in that game.
They missed a big one.
They missed a big one, yes. But it's the fact that they forced 4 field goal attempts. And, in the NFL, offenses are so good. And in the Lions' case, the defense is what it is. The FGA stat is one that is so huge for them. And the Seattle forced 4 of them against the Rams. And when the Lions beat Dallas, they forced 5 of them. And I think it may be an issue tomorrow, or Sunday, but I feel better about the Lions' chances Sunday. But anyway, with Seattle's win, they clinch a playoff spot. So that's one spot that is taken up. Mm-hmm. The Lions can't catch the Rams. So that's 2 spots. And the Rams are going to make the playoffs. So that's 2 spots that are taken up. Then there's the 3 division winners. That's 3, 4, 5 that are taken up. One of those division winners is going to be the North. Then there's San Francisco. San Francisco has a 2-game lead on Detroit with 3 to go. The only way the Lions can catch and pass San Francisco is if the Lions win out and San Francisco loses out.
And if they lose out, that doesn't really help the Lions because that means the 49ers would lose to the Bears.
Well, if the Lions win out and San Francisco loses out, we're happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But because the Lions will be in.
Right.
But in San Francisco's case.
Wouldn't that pretty much mean the Bears will win the division?
Yeah. But the Lions will get in.
Right.
Well, not necessarily, because the Bears could lose to Green Bay on Sunday. Or actually, that game's tomorrow. So anyway, the point is, now if the Lions go 3-0 and San Francisco goes 2-1, San Francisco has the better conference record and wins the tiebreaker. So it's win out, lose out. Mm-hmm. There's one playoff spot. There's 2 playoff spots for 3 teams. This is what it's all come down to. And it's NFC North champion and wild card. And those 3 teams are, of course, Detroit, Green Bay, and Chicago. So we asked a question on Twitter, and we're interested in how are you feeling about the Lions' chances at this point? Like, what is your, it's obviously not at all ideal, but it's also not at all impossible. And, we've talked about and one of the reasons why I don't think, and look, you can do whatever you want. I hate telling fans how to feel, but I'm not giving up, and I don't think others should give up.
No.
Because the Lions, if the Vegas point spreads hold, the Lions will actually pass the Bears before they play the Bears. Because the Bears are currently underdogs in their next 2 games. Why they're underdogs to Green Bay, I don't really know. Games in Chicago. Let me just check and see if that point spread
it's
because, you keep saying that.
Yeah, because I just looked.
You just looked, and what did it say?
It said Packers or Bears minus 1.5.
Where did you see that?
That's going to be one of my selections. Yeah, it was.
Okay, the Bears on FanDuel it is flopped now.
Yeah,
the Bears are now a 1.5 point favorite, so that is no longer the case. All right, fair enough. But the Lions don't need a miracle here at this point to make the playoffs. They need to take care of business. And if push comes to shove, I think they're beating Pittsburgh.
Yes, I do too.
You might hear a shoot the boot guarantee by the end of the show. You might not.
Ooh.
But, how do you feel about their playoff chances? And some of the responses we got on Twitter in the early going here from Bernard. Detroit will win out. Chicago will go 1-2. Green Bay will go 1-2. Detroit wins the NFC North.
That would be wonderful.
That'd be fantastic. He didn't give any reasons why he thinks this is going to happen, but he just said, here's your prediction. From Grubbs or Groobs, how do I feel about their chances? Grim. Dropping that home game to the Vikings is looming very large now. The other losses you could have reasonably see coming. Well, what it means is when you lose a game that you shouldn't lose, if you want to achieve whatever goals you have to then win a game that you wouldn't otherwise think they're going to win. So the real stretch here is, I guess, the game in Chicago. You just got to win the game in Chicago. It feels like there is a high likelihood that everything's going to come down to that game in Chicago.
You would think so, but the Minnesota thing still scares the hell out of me. It's
not a given.
No.
John tweets us back. How do I feel about their chances? Just about 5%, if we're being honest.
Well, I said early in the week, I think 20%. Because I don't think they're going to. I don't see them winning 3 in a row. There's no concrete evidence out there.
I think here's the thing.
Based on the data that leads me to believe they're going to do it. I mean, does it make me a bad person? Maybe. I don't know. I certainly hope they win every game. It'd be great.
Well, John did say something that I expect everybody who answers this question will indeed be honest.
Yes.
John, I don't expect you to be the only one.
No.
I would prefer that everybody be honest about how they feel about. But that's the question. How you feel about their playoff chances as it stands right now? From KD Law Group, not great, concerning even. Yeah, I mean, it's a weird place to be. They're sitting there looking up at 2 teams, and they've got to catch and pass one of them.
Yeah.
And Green Bay has 2 less losses. Chicago, I mean, with just 1 Chicago loss and a Detroit win, they're in a virtual tie for the last playoff spot.
Right.
Because it'll be all riding on that last game. And the only advantage Chicago will have is if Detroit and Chicago tie in the season finale, Chicago gets in. That will be the only advantage.
Well, don't forget, you brought up the tie, so there's Chicago and Green Bay tie and the Lions, screw up on Sunday. They're done Sunday.
Right. If the Lions lose and those 2 teams tie, yes, the Lions are out. From Tyler, 51% to make it. Let's go Lions. 248-539-9797. How you feel about their playoff chances? We'll get into the game a little bit and what we expect to go down. We'll talk some Pistons a little bit later on. But of course, as always, We have open lines. So whatever's on your mind is fair game. 248-539-9797, 97.1.